Welcome to AIM. What is community habilitation? This information session is being held to review AIM's policies and practices for community habilitation through the Self Direction Program. AIM's community habilitation policies and practices are not changing. However, this session is meant to give a more in depth education on the overall topic. AIM emphasizes working with your self direction team, including but not limited to your team self direction coordinator, staff supports coordinator, or additional AIM support teams as needed for questions regarding community habilitation. Let's get started. AIM will be reviewing the following topics during today's session: defining community habilitation, discussion of funding options for community habilitation within the self direction budget, including direct provider purchase community habilitation, agency supported community habilitation, and self hired community habilitation. AIM will be reviewing more in depth information about self hired community habilitation, including the co employment partnership, employment requirements for self hired staff at AIM, important information about supporting documentation, such as the Staff Action Plan, electronic visit verification or EVV, reimbursements for self hired community rehabilitation, and review of self hired staff resources and tools for teams to utilize. By definition, community rehabilitation or ComHab is a service delivered to support a person with intellectual or developmental disabilities in the home or community to facilitate inclusion, integration, skill, and relationship building, which are connected to person centered goals and valued outcomes as outlined in the self directed person's life plan and staff action plan. By practice, community habilitation staff work with the person in self direction to support in achieving person centered goals and valued outcomes, both short term and long term. Staff will use the Staff Action Plan, which is a supporting document outlining habilitative needs for inclusion, integration, skill, and relationship building, including methods for staff to support based on the self directed person's interests and preferences. Community habilitation is beneficial to both the person who is self directing and their representative. Caregivers can trust the staff member will be there to ensure their loved one's wants and needs are met. Staff will also document progress on goals and valued outcomes for each day ComHab support is provided, as well as document monthly progress to meet the habilitative needs of the person and to maintain program standards. This document can be used as a tool by the representative and the Circle of Support team to adapt as wants and needs change. Funding options in self direction. The purpose of self direction is to provide a person with choice of their OPWDD services. The self direction budget provides an opportunity to maximize services that drive personal outcomes impactful to the person supported in the program. People in self direction have options for a customized experience that can be changed as wants and needs change. Community habilitation is an option that a self directing person can choose to build into their budget as a service they would like to pursue. When building community rehabilitation into a self direction budget, there are three types to choose from, with funding streams varying for each type of service: direct provider purchase or DPP community rehabilitation, agency supported community rehabilitation, and self hired community rehabilitation. Not only are there different funding streams to access community rehabilitation, but the service itself can vary from one program to another. We will take a more in depth look at these differences in the next few slides. Direct provider purchased or DPP community rehabilitation provides the person receiving services with the most staffing support. DPP community rehabilitation is purchased through the budget directly from a providing agency at the current Department of Health reimbursement rate as established by New York State. DPP ComHab rates are specific to each region in New York State. DPP ComHab rates and total costs should be confirmed by the providing agency and built into the budget by the support broker. The selected agency providing DPP community rehabilitation acts as both the employer and the supervisor of agency ComHab staff, providing the most staffing support in the following areas: HR tasks and paperwork, including interviewing, hiring, onboarding, employee benefits if applicable, and processing payroll. The DPP agency sets the staff pay rate. DPP agency schedules staff based on operations of the program. DPP agency is required to train staff and to maintain training compliance. The agency will also track program documentation compliance. The DPP agency will provide standard on the job supervision to staff. DPP agency will be responsible for approving timesheets and processing payroll. DPP agency will be conducting routine evaluations for agency staff. Through these responsibilities, the selected agency oversees the overall hiring, training, and management of community habilitation staff for the person receiving DPP services. DPP community habilitation is provided directly by an agency, such as AIM. However, it is important to note that while AIM does offer DPP community habilitation, people who are self directing their services with AIM can purchase DPP community habilitation from any providing agency by allocating the proper funding in their budget. Please reach out to your Circle of Support and your self direction team with questions on DPP services in the budget. Agency supported community habilitation programs can be modeled differently depending on the selected agency. For example, AIM has different community habilitation programs for school age children, teens, and adults to support socialization and community recreation in one to one or group programs. For more information about any of the agency supported community habilitation programs offered here at AIM, please visit our website. The next topic will focus on AIM's self hired community habilitation. What is budget authority? Self hired community habilitation is a funding option in the self direction budget. Self hired community habilitation provides the person receiving services with the most staffing authority. Self hired ComHab relies on a co employment partnership with the self directing person and or their representative to provide wraparound support to the staff. In the next few slides, AIM will outline the co employment partnership roles and responsibilities. AIM acts as the co employment partner responsible for record keeping in the self direction program to include HR tasks and paperwork, including onboarding, employee benefits if applicable, and processing payroll on a biweekly basis every other Friday, maintaining program and documentation compliance, OPWDD required training compliance upon hire and on an annual basis, maintaining electronic visit verification compliance as outlined by New York State Medicaid. AIM utilizes the 25% fringe rate that is built into the budget under self hired staff to complete these tasks. The representative or person self directing acts as a co employing partner responsible as the primary staff supervisor with budget authority to maintain self hired program requirements to include interviewing and hiring their own staff, assisting staff in applying and onboarding with AIM while adhering to AIM's hiring and onboarding practices and participating in routine communications with staff during the process. The primary supervisor will be responsible for choosing the self hired schedule. The primary supervisor will be responsible for choosing the self hired pay rate. The pay rate can be selected anywhere between minimum wage and the current maximum budgeted hourly rate. Families do not have to offer the full budgeted rate to staff. Representatives can hire different staff at different rates based on preference. For questions or updates, frequency of community habilitation hours and or hourly rates, budget amendments can be requested from your broker, and notice of employment changes can be requested from your self-direction staff supports coordinator. The primary supervisor is responsible for person-centered training to self-hired staff. The life plan can be used to outline important information on the person's preferences. The staff action plan can be used to outline important staff methods of support. Additional supporting documentation will be determined by the primary supervisor. AIM requires agency training to be completed upon hire and on an annual basis. The primary supervisor works in partnership with AIM to support staff with routine training reminders to meet OPWDD program compliance, assisting staff with using technology required by the program, mobile device, and real time capture of services delivered. Representative or person self directing is routinely reviewing staff shifts to ensure accuracy and managing self hired staff program. Working in partnership with AIM to complete the biannual Direct Support Professional or DSP evaluation. Self hired community habilitation staff are responsible for maintaining their employment and the policies and practices of AIM as the employer of record. Staff will work in the co employer partnership with the representative or the person self directing and with AIM to ensure that all aspects of their role are aligned with the person and the program. Staff will maintain the following responsibilities. Please note that a more detailed description is available on the self direction job description signed by staff during the onboarding process. Collaboration with the Circle of Support and AIM. It is important for the person self-directing and or their representative to communicate with staff on person-centered practices as noted in supporting documentation, such as the life plan and staff action plan. Understanding and acknowledgement of staff action plan methods, goals, and safeguards builds staff confidence and prepares them for their role. Staff will be responsible for routinely connecting with the representative and with AIM to ensure any employment status updates are communicated to AIM. Community habilitation typically is delivered as a direct face to face service. Staff will be providing ComHab on a one to one individualized face to face mode of delivery. AIM does not support group billing with self hired ComHab. For example, a 2-to-1 service of two staff providing support to one person is not supported. Staff must be awake while clocked in and providing community habilitation. This is because community habilitation is a goal driven service where both staff and the person self directing are actively working on valued outcomes. If the person self directing is asleep, staff can clock out and clock back in under self hired respite if available in the budget to do so. If staff are requested to provide overnight asleep support, the family can opt to pay staff directly. If the budget supports family reimbursed respite, the family could seek reimbursement through this budget line. Use of the VeriMobile app to maintain electronic visit verification (EVV) requirements to ensure that all staff document services according to Medicaid standards through real-time shift verification on a mobile device. Quality documentation is a necessary part of the ComHab role. Staff will document progress on goals and valued outcomes for each day that ComHab support is provided, as well as document monthly progress to meet the habilitative needs of the person and to maintain program standards. Daily ComHab notes should be directly related to the individual's goals and valued outcomes as indicated in the methods section of the staff action plan and should include important information of the supports provided during that day. Monthly summary notes should directly relate to the individual's goals and valued outcomes as indicated in the methods section of the staff action plan and should include important details of the supports provided during the overall month. Monthly summaries are one per person receiving community habilitation rather than one per staff. If a person has more than one community habilitation staff, it is up to that person and or their representative to determine which staff will be tasked with completing the monthly summary. AIM generally suggests that the staff providing service most frequently be the one to complete the monthly summary, but it is ultimately up to the person to determine. The representative, staff, and AIM will work in partnership to provide monthly reminders to staff to maintain quality program documentation compliance. Types of supporting documentation. Representatives, as the primary supervisor, are responsible for educating and training staff on person centered practices. AIM recommends the primary supervisor build strong communication, including sharing supporting documentation with staff, such as the life plan and the staff action plan, to drive personal outcomes of the person self directing and to ensure staff are fully educated on their roles and responsibilities. Routine communication. Representatives should develop a working partnership with staff to communicate updates, answer questions, address concerns, and provide additional training support as needed. AIM offers supports and services to ensure that staff are successful in their role. Person-centered practices. The person self-directing and or their representative will have the opportunity to train their chosen staff to best align with the person's self-directing wants and needs. The team will provide in-depth education to the staff so that they are equipped to assist the person in being healthy, safe, and as independent as possible. As person-centered planning is updated, it is important for the primary supervisor to provide continued education and training to encompass changes in staff delivery of ComHab service and changes in their role. Safeguard supports. The person receiving services and or their representative will also share any relevant safety information with staff. The person self-directing and or their representative will train ComHab staff on these safeguards and answer any questions to build confidence and prepare staff for their role. The electronic visit verification or EVV requirement is the use of approved technology to deliver Medicaid services. Staff will download the Avera mobile app and access cellular or Wi Fi for timekeeping. Location services must be enabled for the Avera mobile staff app. Staff will document all shifts in the Avera mobile staff app. All necessary and only necessary information is collected when shifts are clocked in and out using the Avera mobile staff app, including the date and time of service, the type of support being provided, who is receiving services and who is providing services, where the services are being provided, either in the home or in the community, and the total duration of supports provided. Electronic visit verification requirements are shared with staff during onboarding, as well as during staff training sessions and in staff training documents. AIM operates under New York State labor law regulations. While it is an employment requirement for staff to document via EVV, AIM understands that there may be technical errors when using the Evera mobile app for timekeeping. Staff who experience technical issues will enter a manual payroll entry on the self direction website. AIM maintains a 24-hour expectation for staff entering manual payroll to avoid any delays in shift payment. Manual template submissions are for short term use during times when technology is not working properly. If staff submit a large number of manual payroll entries, an AIM representative will reach out to staff to offer additional training support to move towards Avera Mobile and EVV compliance. Self hired staff may have expenses reimbursed in budget funding available to them while clocked in and providing self hired comment. To meet reimbursement criteria, additional supporting documentation, such as itemized receipts and proof of payment, may be requested. Staff have two potential reimbursement options: individual directed goods and services or IDGS transportation, which reimburses mileage when a staff and a person self directing are traveling in the community, and other than personal services or OTPS staff activity fees, which reimburse staff for meals, admissions, fees, or other costs incurred by staff when supporting a person self directing. It is important to note that compound staff will be required to document progress on goals and valued outcomes for each day that ComHab is provided to the self directed person. This documentation should be quality and include important details about staff reimbursement requests, as this is used by AIM's accounts payable team to process reimbursements in accordance with AIM's reimbursement policy. To recap, the main difference between DPP and self hired community habilitation is choosing between more staffing support compared to more staffing authority to the person self directing. DPP offers the person self directing with more staffing support to include all HR tasks and paperwork, including interviewing, hiring, onboarding, benefits when applicable, and payroll. as well as training, supervision, and evaluation. Self hired community habilitation offers the person self directing with more staffing authority to include choosing the self hired staff, interviewing and hiring them, choosing the self hired pay rate and schedule. They are responsible as the primary supervisor and for on the job training and how the self directed person would like to be supported. They will complete routine management and communication with the co employment partners and circle of support members. The person receiving services and or their representative will benefit from selecting the community habilitation option that better aligns with their goals for ComHab, whether they desire additional staff support or they would prefer more staffing authority. Due to the individualized nature of the self direction budget, a person receiving services may benefit from more than one type of ComHab. Families can work with their broker to build a budget that accommodates both DPP and self hired ComHab services if funding streams are available. An example of this may be a person who is self directing, opting to work with a self hired staff of their choosing during the week, and then attending an agency supported group ComHab program with their peers on the weekend, customizing the budget and supporting documentation to identify both services and support. The AIM difference. Circle of support teams are assigned AIM self direction administrative teams. AIM self direction administrative teams specialize in their roles and responsibilities to wrap around the self directing person throughout the program. These team members include the self direction coordinator as the point person for the self directing person and or their representative to assist with self direction needs such as programmatic questions, participation in planning meetings, review of supporting documentation, and circle of support communications. The staff supports coordinator acts as the liaison between staff and the circle of support, assisting with AIM policies and practices, staff employment status changes, staff evaluation, and benefits if applicable. The accounts payable specialist works in partnership with the circle of support and AIM self direction administrative team to ensure the smooth processing of expenses available within the budget by maintaining review of programmatic and reimbursement criteria. AIM has additional supports and services available to staff and circle of support teams, including the following: the onboarding team, the self direction payroll team, and the education and training team. AIM offers robust training opportunities and methods for self hired staff and circle of support teams to be successful and confident in their partnership and role and responsibilities. The education and training team has created different learning pathways for a combination approach, including the following: AIM Live Weekly Training. AIM's education and training team hosts live weekly interactive sessions on Zoom available for circle of support teams and staff. During these sessions, attendees will learn how to use the Evero platform for their role. However, anyone can register for training on AIM's self direction website on the education calendar. For staff, training is held on Wednesdays. New staff are invited and encouraged to attend a training, or current staff who would like to refresh their skills. Staff attendance is paid to support in learning their role and responsibilities. Attendees of weekly training receive a follow up email to include direct access to AIM tools and resources, as well as the education and training team contact for more individualized support when needed. AIM step by step Evero instructions. AIM has developed how to documents for the Evero platform with screen by screen instructions for each function of the software. Teams can access these documents by emailing their staff supports coordinator or by visiting AIM's self direction website. AIM How To YouTube videos. AIM has developed on demand videos as an optional method for flexibility and self paced learning. AIM self direction YouTube playlist includes how to videos with complete screen by screen instructions on each function in Evero. Staff have access to videos on clocking in and clocking out, as well as how to submit reimbursements when applicable. Teams can access these videos by emailing their staff supports coordinator or by visiting AIM's YouTube channel. Self direction team. For person specific supports, teams have designated AIM administrative representatives to provide wraparound support, such as the Staff Supports Coordinator, Self Direction Coordinator, Accounts Payable Specialist, and Circle of Support team. This is a visual example of AIM's self direction website at www.aimservicesinc.org, where teams can access tools and resources 24/7. AIM's YouTube channel is also available 24/7 with self paced how to videos for external teams as another learning option for self direction. AIM encourages staff and teams to be in routine communication with their self direction coordinator and their staff supports coordinator. If you need assistance locating your team, please visit the self direction staff directory link where teams can locate their AIM administrative team. Thank you for watching this session, AIM What is Community Habilitation?